This one is called The Last Stand Aftermath. By the way, I'm not recording it during gameplay. I'm actually recording voice post-gameplay, which is quite unusual for me right now, but maybe those will work out. I had some audio issues and decided to do it this way. This is some basic options. Well, actually, no, they're not basic, actually. They're very good with frame rate limit up to whatever you want. It's a very good change. Like, very welcome to see 90 FPS frame limit. Main volume, such things like gameplay, accessibilities, etc, etc. Very cool stuff. For example, hearing impaired, colorblind, photosensitivity, and user interface size. Some really good stuff in the quite early version of the demo of the game itself. So what is this? Clearly, it has survival, right? Last Stand Aftermath. So that will be doing something with survival in some kind of a territory. I wonder what it could be. How about zombie? So when you play the game, these are these interruptions kind of a thing, kind of cutscenes where they expose you to whatever is happening in the game. You will notice that there's a lot of similarity because this is a, believe it or not, a roguelike survival game, zombie, post-apocalypse, blah 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 blah. A lot of similarities to Faster Than Light. The sound is pretty good when it comes to shooting. There's this reload thing where you can either wait for a safer reload or just do it quicker with some risk involved. Melee, it's alright. No, dodging itself is a bit wonky at times. And by the way, this is like the introduction tutorial area. This game has very interesting mechanics, and you will see that a bit later, because this is something that's really worth showing off. Of course, there's looting, standard kind of a thing. It surely does kind of feel like State of Decay 2, but top down, with elements of roguelikes such as Faster Than Light, which I actually kind of like. And here we go, generator and 3 skulls. What could it mean, right? Of course, we're starting by the kicking hit. Lights and noise. Let's see what happens, right? Bang, bang, bang. There's something worth noting that in the demo, when it comes to shooting, there have been a few issues that I've noticed. Mostly that if you are shooting the zombie that is below you, like terrain-wise, or above you, it's not that you're not gonna shoot it. Shooting is very hard. Like, there's no vertical aim involved in the game, so auto aim doesn't really allow you to vertically aim. Maybe that's me, maybe I haven't seen something. So like I said, a roguelike. You die, you live, you die again, which is a quite fun concept actually. And as you can see, the cell holds volunteers for the colony, blah 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 blah. Every time you die, new volunteer to go and die again in order to get some more resources. So the basic gist of the story is that you are already written off as to die. You're infected. You're gonna turn anyway. So you're this expandable material. Go gather resources, make sure your walkie-talkie and GPS is on, so we can find your body with all the loot you've collected and bring it back to our home base. Interesting, grim, for sure, premise, with, of course, perks and stuff like, hey, I've learned how to do this. You convey it through your walkie-talkie or whatever radio that you find. And later, when you pick up another survivor, you have a certain amount of points that you can actually assign these points to make your run different, better, more skilled into a skilled person, basically. Very cool stuff. Like you can see right here, body upgrades. We don't have any because we're just starting with our first guy. But later in the game, when we will, quote-unquote, learn to run faster, breathe faster, whatever, we will be able to choose these upgrades for the next run on a different survivor. Very cool stuff. Of course, gear and stuff like that as well. I don't know what full version is gonna have, but there's a possibility for some kind of base building, maybe. That would only make sense in my opinion, because just collecting guns and stuff is a little weird. What I don't like about games like that, included State of Decay, is the hold button simulator, which, yeah, in a game like this, where you're surrounded by zombies, that makes sense to hold the button. But of course, if you're not surrounded by zombies, maybe the game could check that you are not in any immediate danger, so you could actually do the actions faster. That's always annoying, for example, No Man's Sky, where you have to hold the button for multiple seconds to do anything. But here we go. Right, that's a cool feature I didn't know about, actually. I think it was by pressing shift, and I had some issues with that. You will see it later on, me having issues with the blip kind of a thing. So that's really cool thing to note. You can actually go inside the buildings. So far I've only gone into inside one, like a different area, it's what I mean, not like a house with doors that you can break. Just like a different area, like this basement, for example. I haven't stumbled upon another one like this, but if there is a possibility to do it, and here we go, in the first tutorial section, we can do it. So probably in the full game there will be more options like that, which is very cool. And of course, to run, just like in Faster Than Light, you will need your fuel in order to refuel the car. And of course, it's not like immediate. And I had some problems going out, like you can see that the exit thing doesn't pop off immediately or when it should. Maybe that area should be increased a bit. And of course, we scavenge stuff. Okay, so this is another interesting thing. You can see those batteries kind of a thing, which of course require to power certain things, and antiviral, so basically an antidote kind of a thing, but it doesn't cure you. It's a serum that just stops the infections for a short time. What it's talking about here, you'll see. Those are very important things in order to make your runs long laster. Those are very important things in order to make your runs last longer. I remember having a complaint before that there's no minimap, and here's the deal. There's no minimap because there's pulsating thing you can see is actually shows you where the things of interest are placed on the map. So instead of a minimap, they went with this design, and I think that's a better way to do it. What is really kind of cool is that you actually have to start your engine, and it takes quite a substantial amount of time. So you can get overwhelmed by zombies, so don't be very loud, because it doesn't work for you very well. So you have seen in the map, it's pretty familiar to people who have actually played the Faster Than Light and similar roguelike games. As you can, the focus, that's the thing I was talking about, the focus mode, where it shows you points of interest, and also increases the damage to zombies when you shoot them. Now, of course, it's not permanent. It will be only for a limited amount of shots or time, which is pretty cool. Oh, here we go. Gain some knowledge. Now we have to find a radio and radio it back home. Like, hey, I've learned how to cook. I've learned to do this for the next run. Very cool stuff. Quite unique, I'd say. And of course, zombies usually have some loot. For now, I've noticed they have quite a lot of ammunition on them, which makes the game easier. It's still not very easy, you will see why. There's of course locked doors that you can pry open with your legs, with your melee weapons and such. But usually, I've noticed that there's actually a different way into those houses that are locked off with doors, usually. And as you can see, I'm looking for points of interest by using the focus button. Okay, so you can see me avoiding these a bit bigger, glowish zombies, and there's actually a reason for that. If it's glowing, it's bad. General way of saying in video games, don't go near me. And it actually works like that as well in this game. Now, there's normal zombies that some of them run, some of them don't. And I've noticed usually they're placed near buildings or more important objects. And those zombies will actually run after you. I'm gonna call them myself runners or fast zombies, basically. While the normal zombies are really not that much of a hassle to deal with, but if you start shooting at those, yeah, you will for sure get a lot of attention from different zombies that are way harder to kill than those. You can also see me scavenging for a lot of different kind of miscellaneous materials. There's crafting in the game, but so far I don't know, but the only time I was able to craft something was when I've actually found a crafting table. You cannot craft it on the spot, I think, maybe some basic items. I'm not 100% sure of that, but there are crafting tables that you will find sprinkled around the areas that you will be exploring. And as you can see in the bottom of the screen, literally middle of the screen, the bottom, there's my health bar, and there's this purplish thing. That's the infection spreading, and something really cool happens once you get one bar of your health bar, well, away from the infection. And that means that's not your health. That's the way of diminishing your health, making sure that your run isn't gonna last forever. You are basically mutating into a zombie, or whatever they're called in this game. That's why it's kind of a balanced mechanic, but also pretty unbalanced, but you'll see why very soon. Okay, so I'm delivering these supplies to the car. I don't know what they really do. I suppose that's a currency of some sort. That would only make sense. For the next run, that is. You cannot go back to your base. I'm at capacity. So you can have only one antiviral at a time, and I use it specifically to get this file of antiviral, or syringe. Injector, I suppose. Now, what I've noticed is at least this area isn't randomly generated. Maybe it's in the demo, and I'm not sure if it's going to be like this in the full release of the game. But so far, when I've played, loot is random, quite, but not the areas generated. I'm not sure if it is for a story kind of a thing. As you can see, I'm missing the zombies that are actually just a bit downhill from me. But like I said, I'm not sure if that's a story reason that the areas are not pre-generated. I mean, they are pre-generated. I suppose they're human handmade, but they're not randomized. Maybe later in the game are, maybe in the full version of the game they are. I don't really know. Now, of course, when I'm talking of pre-made areas, I don't mean like, hey, they'll always find a zombie in here or in here. Like, sure, they're always going to be in a house and stuff. But, like, for example, this house with substantial loot inside was always here. Every playthrough that I had, this house was just here. I haven't checked the loot, really, because this is the only playthrough I'm going to check out the loot in. But I would say the loot is not predetermined. And I was saying earlier that you not only miss from really, like, this should be a hit, but I keep missing that zombie, and that zombie is much more stronger than the typical zombie. That's why he's like glowing and he's a little bit bigger. And again, I'm missing from quite a short distance. So you have to make sure that you're just standing on the same level that the zombie is. A slight increase or incline would make you miss. That's something they have to work out, but I'm pretty sure they will. They wouldn't release a game, I hope, with bugs like that where you cannot kill a zombie downhill or uphill. Or kill, even shoot him. Yeah, you can shoot him, you cannot hit him. So here I am fighting with myself, should I do this or should I not? And well, of course the doors are locked and I cannot break them. So I just decide to turn on the generator. Now, I didn't really think of it, but here's a thought now. Yeah, these doors are metal and I couldn't kick them open. Will the zombies be able to do that or not? And I found a really nice rifle and a broadcast device so I can actually spend my points that I've learned to for the next run, for the next survivors there's going to be, to give them some perks. And there's a lot of perks, guys, really useful, some of them. Like, for example, action speed. So, like in No Man's Sky, hold E game, right? Game to hold button, or hold button the game. You have a skill to increase that. And in this type of a game, it actually could be very useful. A pistol damage, reload speed, blah blah blah, that kind of a thing. I just picked that. There's a lot of different useful skills for basically an RPG character that you want to build and maybe roleplay as. Very cool stuff. But you will see something that's even better than this, than just normal perks. Whoever worked on them, good job. But whoever worked on mutation perks, superb job, my guy. You have done a really good job working on them, because that's what makes the game, and you will see here just in a minute what I mean when I come about the mutation perks. They are game changing for sure. And here I am equipping my MM4. So what's cool is about this game is that the zombies don't take like 20 hits with the M4 to kill. It's still a small amount of hits, and of course I was stupid enough not to reload the gun I had. Bravo me. And look at that. Look at the massacre with the rifle. As you can see, that was one magazine basically. So I am stunned by this. Like, usually in games, if you find a rifle that fires very fast, it deals very little damage. But not in this game. It's quite actually realistic when it comes to damage. Like, sure, there's gonna be upgraded revolver or whatever that's gonna deal a bit more damage than your starting revolver or scrap revolver or whatever. But still, I am very surprised that they did it this way. The better way, in my opinion. Which, of course, makes rifles, shotguns, whatever, more useful than in other games they would really be. And you can, of course, heal yourself. And basic bandages heal very little, but there's much better versions of these, of course, in the game, like medkits and stuff that, of course, you will be healing for longer, so the interaction time is much longer, but you will replenish way more health than this. And here's another vial of antiviral that I could pick up, but I already have one, so my inventory is maxed out when it comes to antiviral capacity, so I found no reason to do it. So what's really cool about this is that it doesn't show you all of the items in the vicinity of wherever you are, it just shows you them in the focus mode. But for example, that fuel tank, I wouldn't see it normally. I have to use the focus mode. I think that's cool when it comes to survival games. That's just a better mechanic when it comes to survival games. Where you can actually skip something by not using either the focus mechanic, so a different mechanic, or just not having your eyes peeled into the screen and what's in the surrounding area. Oh no! I got touched by a zombie and my mutation has increased. And once it took one health bar, there is where the fun begins. Unarmed damage, minus 20 action speed, stamina, replaces dodge with a charge that knocks down enemies. That is game-changing. Game-changing mechanics. That's how you build your character. Do I want to use melee weapons, or do I not want to do this? Right now I took the stamina, because I have so many melee weapons that they will be more useful than just, like, pure unarmed damage. But let me tell you, I have built a character that had like 400% amount of melee damage, unarmed melee damage. And it was like one hit kill on a zombie. It was so amazing. You just walk up to a zombie and punch him in the face and he just dies, like every zombie. So I just literally brawl the zombies that would just attack me. It was really cool to see how a character can develop. You can get like an increased reload speed in order to favor ranged aspect of your character instead of a melee aspect. You can get a just melee weapon type of increase, and many other mutations that you can get. Very cool stuff. And this is why I think you really play the game, to see all of those mutations and basically make a character that synergizes with your gameplay or game style, or the character that you have picked the perks after another one died. So that's what's really cool about the game, and that's what makes me excited about the upcoming release. The notion of mutations and how they work with your character. So like I said, the base checks on you, and I don't know if whatever you say will have repercussions, but you can be pretty harsh to them. Like, the doctor is gonna ask you something, I'm like, I'm dying, or I'm about to die. It's very weird dialogue, but it works, because you know you're gonna die anyway. And the only thing that you can do that's useful for your friends, perhaps your camp, humans, is to gather as much information and as much stuff as possible. Also, I've noticed that the engine will need repairs. I don't know if it consumes something out of inventory. I assume it does, but remember to fix your engine or you're gonna have some trouble later in the game. As you can see, there's certain bugs, like you will go through a zombie to another one if it's in a close proximity. So you have to watch out whenever you're hitting a bunch of zombies. You can actually get yourself into a group of zombies by basically glitching through one, because the melee attack just kind of just dragged you into another zombie. And here I am going pretty risky with another generator. What's the worst thing that could happen, right? No, wait, that's actually not the generator. That's the generator. And here I'm like wondering, should I turn it on? But whatever. Kick it back to life. Kick it back to life. Sure. Best way to fix something. Now I did it on purpose. Not only to eliminate all the zombies that are right here, but as you can see, some of the zombies that are even close, I don't hit. If you think the sandbags are going to protect you, no, you're wrong. But again, a lot of issues that you can spot right here with the zombies. What's really cool is that you see them stumble over objects sometimes. And I just switched to a 9mm revolver because it's more economical if I'm not hitting the zombies correctly. Like you can see, there's just bugs when it comes to aiming, and that has to be reported. They still keep coming. Come on. That's a bit of a smaller heart than I thought. The real question is, was it worth it for that supply cache or whatever? Yes, it was. And again, a choice. Either supply beacon to activate the beacon to get more supplies, or get ammo. And for this playthrough, I basically picked more ammo because I knew that it's a demo, so there's no like long run objective. It's only all short term objective. And here we go, antiviral. Gotta get in here. I should have probably, on retrospect, maybe... No, wait, I wasn't touched by any zombies anyway, but here I am picking up some bullets. Oh, and by the way, you will see that the zombies respawn. Like, basically, I've kind of cleared the whole area. But they will respawn once they will be out of my visual range. So that's worth to note, that you're not always safe, even in the places that you have been before. And it also, like in State of Decay, it shows you how many rooms you've explored and have you actually opened all of the containers if you are in a house. And traps. Yes. I had no idea that there can be traps in this game, but here you go. I've actually encountered one, and yeah, unlucky, right? So we also have to watch out for those. So as you can see, when I'm exploring the abandoned house, it shows me that how many containers I've searched through, just like in State of Decay. And I really like that idea. Even in State of Decay, I think that works. Right now I just have so much ammo that I'm just gonna use that instead. So that's interesting what the game just did. As you can see, when I was outside the house, I've seen the zombies marked whitish or white outlines on the zombies. It's an interesting way to do things. Like, I didn't know if there's actually something in front of them or not. So I find that very interesting. I'm transmitting knowledge again. More health, stamina, door kicking damage. I can't remember what I picked. So the difference between that and State of Decay, besides the camera thing, and that it is more of a roguelike, is of course that you kind of build your own character. You don't get a randomized... Maybe in the future we will get some random perks on a character whenever we are starting the game. But so far from what I can tell, you kind of build your own character instead of having a bunch of randomized threats in State of Decay 2. Which, you know, some people like this randomness when they get a weird character instead of Decay 2 that maybe hampers their performance or does something completely useless. It's part of the fun, but again, this is also part of the fun. You can actually basically play an RPG. Okay, it says no way in, right? And I'm here, standing here and being like, there has to be a way in. There has to be. They wouldn't just put it over there like that, right? Something's wrong. So, here I'm walking around, and I see this fence. And I have some experience when it comes to testing video games. And as you can see, I just saw the indication that I can jump through that fence that was near me. And I'm using my fists. As you can see, there's also kind of blunt damage thing where they get knocked out basically. This cool little slow motion. But I'm not letting go. I have to go, and there we go. I'm not sure if this was a bug, but it kind of looked like one. But there's a chest in here, so is it? In this case, it was actually empty. But is it a bug? I'm not sure. I could have tried shooting the fence, come to think of it. But clearly, you can walk around and there was a chest. Now this time it was empty. But I can do the same thing through that fence. I don't think you should be able to do that. Maybe you could throw a grenade, dynamite, something explosive into the fence, maybe shoot it. And as you can see, I'm back to the same place, and it's not looking very good. Now, thankfully, you can actually go around it, which is superb. I can't remember if I tested out the flare gun. I should have. I should have totally tested it out. And we're moving on to the next area. Okay, this has been going for a very long time, so... I don't know what's the deal with the green thing on the car startup. And you can see there's like progress, 35%. What does it mean? I'm not really sure. You use the fuel just like an FTL. But, would I recommend this game? Yeah, if you like survival games and roguelike games, if you like State of Decay 2 and Faster Than Light, and you don't mind the zombies, guys, this is a no-brainer. Seriously, really worth your time and your money Because I played this at least 4 times. Only the demo. Because I was so infatuated with it. It is really good. I really like what they did with the game, and I've kept playing after whatever I recorded. So it's 100% worth. It's worth just to check out the mutations that you can get, the characters that you can get, what you can build in the game. You can build a One-Punch Man, literally, from the mutations that you have in the game. That was even without perks. Guys, just on a short note here, $30-40 is gonna be 100% worth for the game. 60 might be stretching it. I'm not a fan of $60 price range, but this is totally worth your time and your money. 100% recommendation from me. I'm really waiting for this game to come out so I can play it more and see if it actually has a story or not. Thanks for watching the video, and see you on the next one.